Hello everybody, Joe Bagdones here. Welcome back to another episode of Full Metal Daemon Muramasa. Last time we left off, got another guy to kill, but he also has weird people with him. Some new, some we're already acquainted with. Where's it gonna go from here? No clue. You know, if the very beginning, the first chapter is anything to go by, this shit's already off the rails. So we're just along for the ride, with the occasional bad decision made by yours truly, who will probably dead end us, probably get us killed, you know, several times. I really should be saving at those decision points, so that way, in the inevitability, once I do get us locked into a dead end, I don't have to, you know, hold the shift key or whatever the fast forward button is in this game for like 2 hours in order to get back to, you know, a point in the route where I don't permanently like fucking lock us into a bad end. That was a very hard sentence for me to work out. I just woke up. It's almost 11. I slept in. I didn't sleep in great though. It was one of those kind of mornings where you wake up. I woke up, it was like 6. I'm like, it's way too early to get out of bed. And then proceeded to just keep waking up, falling back asleep, waking up, falling back asleep, waking up, falling back asleep. Like every 20 minutes. And then eventually it's just kind of like, I'm thirsty, I need to get out of bed. And then I did. Now I'm drinking my coffee. But before I had my coffee, I had a nice big tall glass of beet juice. It's good for you. It's got like no sugar in it, no sodium. It tastes like beets, which I like. Like, I'm not like a beet fiend, but like, I'll eat a fucking can of beets. It's food. Anyway, speaking of food, I haven't eaten breakfast yet, and I need to go grocery shopping because the only thing I have left in my house is like 4 eggs and a frozen thing of pineapple. And I think I have like, oh God, what do I have? I had some kind of fish and tomato sauce, like in a big can. Is it sardines? I think I have sardines and tomato sauce. Yeah, but not like little sardines, like the big fucking, like, midsection chunks. They're really bony, though, so I really don't want to have to eat those. I'll have to be careful the next time I buy them to buy the ones that, you know, you make sure that they don't got the little bones in them. Because, taking a bite and just, like, crunching down on a vertebrae, not fun. It is nearly dusty by the time I begin my search of the forest. Yeah, that's me every day. The duel with the prefect nearly drained my calorie reserves dry. Food and rest are the only way to replenish them. Normally, I would require an easily digestible meal of moderate size and at least 6 hours of sleep to be at full strength. The current situation, however, forces me to prioritize my pursuit of the prefect. The longer I wait, the more time he has to regroup. I ate some energy bars from a small, out-of-the-way store, did some light exercise to aid in digestion, defecated, and took a brief rest. As such, about 2 hours have passed since leaving the mayor's residence. It's better than nothing, but only just. Still, it should hold me through a single short engagement.
奇襲の可能性を考慮すると危険だが、今は熱量の消耗を最小限に抑えている。
そうね。相手に待ち伏せをかけるような余力がないことを祈りましょう。
As I walk down the unpaved road, I wonder at the noticeable absence of foot traffic. Is it simply because there are no fields in this direction, or have the villagers locked themselves in their homes to wait out the storm? Given the setting sun, I suppose it might just be the time of day. I wanted to finish this before dark, but that is looking to be a difficult proposition. The season is already late autumn, a time of year when poets liken the sun to a falling rock.
誰に祈れる？俺は神仏の恩寵を願える筋合いではない。
Yeah, considering you're a whole, you know, I'll kill everyone, I don't fucking care kind of thing, you know, gods tend to not like that.
なら、悪魔の庇護でも願えばどう？
自分に祈って何の意味がある？
私に祈れと言っているのよ。
うぬぼれるな、獲物。
うぬぼれないことね、手足。
Yeah, pretty bold of both of you to label yourselves as demons. The shadows are growing longer by the minute. I pick up the pace. We leave the road leading up to the sacred mountain and enter the forest proper, aiming for the area where I saw the prefect crash. It is unlikely he could have gotten far with the wounds that he had sustained upon impact. Finding him should not be too difficult. That is, if I don't let this maze of thick interlocking trees throw off my sense of direction. With the terrain and time of day as they are, I can't even depend on the sun for guidance.
森に慣れた案内人を頼むべきだったろうか。
I dismiss the idea as soon as it comes to mind. How can I risk someone else's safety when I can't even ensure my own? Perhaps the challenges facing me have brought on a spell of faint-heartedness. I dig the nails of my left hand into the palm of my right. The pain helps to renew my focus.
気配はあるか。
ええ。カカ様の。こればっかりは間違いようのない匂い。
Mother?
確かにこの辺りにある。
正確な位置は
Oops, are you referring to?
わからないのだな。
私のあれの気配を捉える能力は剣本来の耳ほど確かじゃないのよ。
Ginsego is mother.
漠然とした位置以上のことは無理ね。視界内に収めれば特定はできるのだけれど。
そちらには反応がないのか。
We're kind of in the woods, bud. You're gonna get radar signals all around. You know, there's trees and rocks and shit.
地表で。
Yeah. You dumb?
しかもこの地
You
形では
fucking
ね。
stupid?
そうだな。
Also, depending, you know, if Muramasa is behind you or above you or beside you, you know, if it fires up its radar, it's gonna cook you. Radar is useless with all these trees and rocks surrounding us. What we need is a powerful infrared scanner like those mounted on the Army's newest Walker Dragoons. But one of those isn't simply gonna fall into our laps. Yeah, radar, you know, it's radiation. Before, like, in my career field, we have powerful radars on the front of our airplanes, mainly for, like, weather detection, for, like, detecting clouds and storm systems. If you fire that up when you're on the ground and someone's in front, you're not gonna, like, kill them, but you are gonna hit them with a pretty good amount of radiation, and then they have to go to, like, bioenvironmental engineering and get, like, tested and document how much radiation they got. Apparently it can also affect the gender of your kids. Like, if you've been exposed to, like, high amounts of radiation, generally you have more girls than boys, you know, being born. Weird things like that. Also, before, you know, back in, like, the 50s and stuff, before people really knew about how dangerous radiation was, yeah, they would all just huddle in front of, like, the satellite dishes, you know, just pumping it out the, you know, those radar signals. Because you stand in front of them and they make you nice and warm in the winter. You know, it's like you're a fucking hot pocket in the microwave. You know, keeps you nice and toasty on the inside instead of freezing out in the snow. And then everyone dies from weird cancers. Huh? Ain't that funky?
地道に探すとしよ
そうね。方角の確認は任せて。
う。コンパスの代わりにはなるということだが、それは助かる。
Yeah, you should at least have an inertial, like, navigation unit in there where everything's based off of, like, accelerometers or whatever. So that way, you know, even without GPS, you can know where you started and where you are and where you're going.
え？私も自分の有能さに感動してる。
They work like, alright, the one in the back sensed that we got this many, like, newtons of force for so long, which means we're going this fast in this direction, which means if this is our starting point, we're over here now. Fun times. I proceed through the undergrowth. Muramasa's last, biting words linger in the small bones of my ears. We haven't come that far yet, but already every direction I turn looks the same. There are only trees and more trees, as far as the eye can see. In the light of day, this might have been a pleasant stroll. With night fast approaching, however, I must appear either a fool testing his courage, or a suicidal man looking for a place to die. The latter seems more plausible. Any of the surrounding trees would provide suitable purchase for a noose.
どこかから悲鳴か恨み事でも聞こえてきそうね。
Muramasa's chatter evidences? Okay. I understand the word. I've never seen it before, but I get it. It's like evidence, you know, it provides reference to similar train of thought, whatever. Muramasa's chatter evidences a similar train of thought to my own.
いわば招くというぞ。
こういう話をしていると、本当に
ああ、
Just some wild dogs.
こんな風かしら。
そうだな。
My foot catches against something on the ground. A root, probably exposed by heavy rain. After checking that my shoe was undamaged, I resume walking, taking greater care where I step. There's little danger of injury, but a damaged shoe would impede my movements.
大丈夫？
問題ない。
ねえ、
ああ、
I stopped walking.
今、本当に聞こえなかった？
That was more like a rumble.
俺もそのように思う。
I scanned the area. Nothing out of the ordinary. Just trees, rocks, and dirt. I trained my ears. Silence. Only the buzzing of insects and the rustling of leaves. Nothing to draw my attention. That only makes the sound echo louder in my memory. I strongly doubt I'd imagine something like that in a quiet forest like this.
人の声ではなかったな。
そう思うけれど、野犬？
もう少し大きい獣のような気もする。方角はわかるか？
わかるけど、行くつもり？
I mean, the only thing bigger that would be like in a Japanese forest would be like a boar or like a bear. I'm pretty sure wolves went extinct in Japan, though, like a pretty long time ago. I'm actually gonna reference that because I don't want to lie. I know I tell a lot of lies here, but you know, when I'm talking about like ecological conservation, I don't want to be lying. Wolves in Japan. Japanese wolf is an extinct species of gray wolf. Yeah, but when did it go extinct? Wikipedia. Extinct 1905. And the Wikipedia article has a really shitty taxidermy of one.
獣が理由もなく叫ぶことはない。そしてあれは攻撃的な声だった。
人が襲われているのかもしれない。
野獣同士の喧嘩なら相手の声も聞こえてきて良さそうなものだと思わないか？
Yeah, they're having a big tussle, you know.
確かに。了解。行きましょう。先導するからついてきて。多分、そう遠くはないはず。
Thanks, Muramasa. My fears were well founded, but then they usually are. A person is visible through the trees, of middling height and wearing a school uniform. A village boy, perhaps? In the dim light, it's hard to be sure. The person is crouching, their back to us, facing off with something in the bushes. Something indeed. At this angle, with a student blocking my line of sight, most ordinary animals would be hard to make out, but this creature is clearly visible. Therefore, it is far from ordinary. It is a dog. A wild dog, most likely. Its fierce glare and rough, tousled fur set it apart from the domesticated hounds you see in human company. Indeed, its savage visage, however you want to pronounce it, would not look out of place amongst the company of Rokuhara soldiers. The truly incredible thing is its size, comparable to that of a small bear. If it stood on its hind legs, it might even rival an average human in height. I've never seen such a dog before, wild or otherwise.
妙な話ね。
Muramasa says inside my skull.
村の人たちは、あんな獣と共存してきたというわけ？あの体では、とてもこの森の中だけで、餌を賄うことなんてできないでしょう。
And not silently. Could the creature have wandered in from elsewhere? My questions will have to wait. The tension in the air is thick, though the student remains utterly motionless, even as the beast's growling grows more hostile. I cannot even tell whether the student is looking at their opponent. If they were alone, I would have guessed them to be picking flowers.
ミド、走行は？
いるまい。
I should be able to handle such a beast without my armor. Although, that isn't what I meant. I reduced my pace. A approaching slowly and silently. By leaping to the fray, it could distract the student and give the beasts an advantage. It would be shameful indeed if I got someone killed by offering assistance when it clearly wasn't needed. Once close enough, I hide behind a nearby tree. The dog, however, seems to have sensed my arrival. Perhaps fearing what I might do, it howls one last time in warning. Then, plunges before the echoes have faded, fangs posed to tear into the yet motionless student. The beast is fast, with its arrow-like charge typical of canines. At this close range, evading such an attack will be nigh impossible. At last, the student rises to their feet. Their motions are slow and deliberate, bear-like even. Though I compared the dog to a bear just moments ago, the human, it seems, is more deserving. The dog leaps. The student waits. The two meet. It is not the wild dog who takes his enemy's throat. First contact is established between the student's right fist and the dog's brittle trachea, the former punching through the latter like a hammer against a porcelain vase. It is the dog's own power that affects this outcome. Imagine an orange flung at a pincushion. If you have the right and you have the right idea, the student needs no more strength than was necessary to place their fist in the enemy's path. I hear a sharp, somewhat comical crunch. Do I just imagine it? If so, then I imagine it because the sight is so surreal. The massive creature soaring through the air like a circus animal, howling all the while, before crashing to earth exactly where it began. The fallen beast thrashes briefly in the dirt. By the time the student has walked to its side, the convulsions have all but subsided, leaving only the short, wheezing sound of its last breaths. The blow must have crushed vertebrae along with the trachea and larynx, for which the creature need only thank its own strength. As a result, it will not have to suffer a long, agonizing death. Ironic, yes, and pitiful. The student stops a pace or two away from the dying animal, perhaps unsure whether to deal the finishing blow. But before they can decide, it is over. As the dog draws its last breath and the forest falls silent once more, the student bows their head in regret, if only slightly. Seeing this, I think... Actually making saves. Immature. Immature, I judged silently. If they knew they would feel regret, then they should not have killed. Now that they have killed, they should not indulge regret. Maybe there was a better way, people often tell themselves. But if that is the case, then they should have chosen that course first. If you have no choice but to take your opponent's life, then there's no reason to regret doing so. Ultimately, regret is a weak heart's way of coping with the reality of murder. My phone just gave me a notification. It's nothing. In that sense, it is no different than claiming that your attacker forced you to kill them. If the student killed the dog unintentionally, then their problem is with their technique. If they killed the dog intentionally, but feel regret, then the problem is with their mindset. Either way, they are immature. Of course, someone who stood idly by has no right to make such judgments. I decided to keep my opinions to myself.
もういいよ、見物に。
Just as I was debating whether to leave, the student speaks over their shoulder. He knew I was here all along, it seems. I step out from behind the tree.
武者式の組打ち術ですか？
わかる
Yo,
のか。
learned your fucking Gundam martial arts?
ばあさんに習ったんだ。維新で没落する前は、ここら辺の殿様だった家の系類だとかで、いろいろとな。
I can relate. Once upon a time, my family was extremely wealthy. Owned a very, very prominent water company in the States. Had a massive resort, golf course, family estate. Lost everything in the Great Depression. Like, it's all gone. Even the old resort burned down in like the 70s from like disrepair. They dust their hands off their shirt, then turn and fix me with piercing eyes. These immediately narrow in surprise. which quickly turns to unveiled disgust. Yeah, that's how girls normally look at me too.
てめえかよ。
その説は
I reply with a slight bow. The student is not a boy, nor is this our first meeting. Hers is not a face I'm likely to forget soon. She is the girl who intervened during the altercation with Rokuhara-backed gangsters in Kamakura some time ago. They called her Ichijou, if I'm not mistaken. It was thanks to her that the children at my company at that time were unharmed. She rejected my thanks then, but now I have a second chance to offer it. But before I can decide whether to make the attempt, she preempts me.
あの時は土下座で、今日は見物か。大したもんだな、近頃の警察は。
恐縮です。女性は無用と見えたもので、手出しを控えさせていただきました。
It's the whole like you jump in, you know, to help someone from drowning, then all of a sudden you have two drowning people.
言い訳としちゃ上等だ。
She says with venom in her voice. I don't begrudge her reaction. It's only natural to judge cowardly a man who watches from the shadows while someone fights for her life. In fact, I should probably apologize for standing idle, regardless of my motives.
申し訳ありません。
I bow deeply.
でけえ図体してやがるくせに。
The girl looks away, scorn clear in her face. My apology seems to have irritated her further. Not that I begrudge her stringent attitude, such is the province of youth. I follow with an innocuous question.
一条さんとおっしゃいましたか。このようなところでお会いするとは奇遇なことです。
You just like walking in the woods?
何か
Me
ご
too.
用事でも終わりですか。一条さん。
Though normally, well, I don't really go in the woods here very often, except for like my morning runs. But that's just because there's a trail at the park nearby. But like back when I lived out west, oh man, I loved going into like the Cascades. And like the Rockies too, I went in the other direction. The only thing was, you know, I like solo camping. So I always had my gun with me. And I've totally almost broken my leg a couple of times, especially when I was hiking in the mountains alone. It was June, but you get high enough above the tree line and it's still all snow, or even at like the top, you know, in the forest still, it's all snow. So I'm walking over like the snow that's like 10 feet deep, and all of a sudden my leg shoots down through because I'm on some bent over trees and there's like a hollow underneath there. So I go all the way up to my thigh, and as I'm falling backwards, because, you know, I have my pack on, and my hip just like creaks and pops. Like if I had gone like a foot further, like if I wasn't wearing my pack, I probably would have like broken my hip and then have to have crawled back. Oh, someone's texting me. Yesterday. No response. Silence falls upon our corner of the forest.
会話が途絶えた。
私に言われても
小粋なジョークか。
やめなさい。
My Tsurugi's curt response reaches me from her hiding place, probably in one of the trees overhead. As though she could hear our exchange, the girl turns back to me and speaks, her voice dripping with reluctance.
あやねだ。
は？
あやねだよ。
Okay. Ayane. It's her name, obviously. What am I supposed to do with it?
先方の趣旨はつまり名前で呼べということか。
そうね。私にもそう聞こえるけど。
Muramasa sounds as confused as I am. Strange. I thought that she loathed me. Why would she allow me to use her given name? In any case, best not to be rude.
一条綾音さんですか。愛らしい良き名前かと思います。
Yeah, Flutter's not gonna get you anywhere with her.
しかし面識の浅い意味で名前をお呼びするのもぶしつけ。やはり一条さんと呼ばせていただく方が自分としても心苦しくなく。
そう。
Of Of course, this is the time work decides to text me.
何か
Not that,
Ichijou-san.
not that they can have me do anything.
そっちが名前だ。
Oh. It's okay. I have a backwards sounding name
失
too.
礼いたしました。綾音一条さん。自分は鎌倉署の港影明です。
ああ、本当に失礼だ。
Oh, you
慣
don't
れ
want
慣
to
れ
be
しく何
friends?
度も名前呼びやがった挙句に。くそ。
What a moody little shit. As the furiously blushing Miss Ichijou, Ayane, elects herself, I take a few moments to consider this revelation. So, this is the danger of entertaining preconceptions.
勉強になった。
そうね。この場合、問題は私たちより彼女の名付け親にあるような気もするけれど。
Yeah, whenever I like enter my name down, I like, I don't know, whenever I go to the med group or something, or the dentist, and you know, I gotta put my name on the sign-in sheet and then they call it. Gotta be prepared, you know. Oh, is enter first name and my rank here. And like, nope, I'm like, yep, that's me, but also no. But you know, just gotta keep my ears peeled.
まっすぐに育ってほしいとの願いを込めたのではなかろうか。
女の子らしさとかは考えてあげなかったのかしら。
By the time Muramasa and I have completed this silent exchange, Miss Ayane has recovered and is glaring at me more fiercely than before.
それで、なんでこんなとこにいるんだよ、おまわり。
公務です。
I'm still waiting for an answer from her to the same question, but no matter. Her reply is an apathetic snort.
あなたは
公務だよ。
I consider this perfunctory answer. Official business? A student on official business in the mountains. Of course.
昆虫採集ですか。
なんでだ。
You know, it's her summer project.
カブトムシの幼虫を狙うなら、そこの腐葉土などが適しています。
違う。答える義理はねえって遠回しに言ってんだ。わかれよ。
わかりました。
I suspected as much, but though it prudent to assume that she was telling the truth, but thought it prudent to assume that she was telling the truth, just in case. It seems such tact was uncalled for.
無作法な詮索をお詫びします。
いちいちイライラさせる野郎だな。
そうですか。面目ありません。
あのな、こっちが先に聞いたんだよ。何してんのかって。その後でお前が同じこと聞いたからって無作法なわけねえだろ。真面目に答えろとでも言いやいいじゃねえか。
You're just being polite.
それをあっさり頭下げやがって。恥ずかしいとは思わねえのかよ。
Her tone is heavy with contempt.
思いません。
My response renders her speechless for a moment.
なんでだ。
Because what's the point in picking a fight with you?
自分は公僕です。
Well, close enough.
である以上、自分の活動は任務上支障のない範囲で市民の方々に対し明らかにされているべきです。しかし市民は警察に対して生活を明らかにする義務はありません。
Mm-hmm.
もし警察がそれを強要するなら、
Hit him with the
基
am I
本
being
的人権
detained?
に対する侵害となります。
And no? If they say no, then it's like, cool, I'm just gonna go. Remember, people, it's Shut the Fuck Up Friday. You don't have to tell anything to the cops.
したがって、自分にはあなたの質問に答える義務がありますが、あなたが自分の質問を拒絶するのは自由です。
And if you do,
あなたに
if
責め
you
られ
feel
る
like
べ
you
き
want to,
指
do
令
it
は
on
あ
your
り
own
ません。
terms with a lawyer present. As I finish, I realize that it's lucky we're in the middle of a deserted forest. My words could easily be taken as political criticism, what with human rights being far from the top of Rokuhara's priorities. If I were to make such a statement on a crowded street, it would be certain to reach the ears of one of the shogunate's spies, which it has seated amongst the citizenry in an assault on their very privacy I am espousing. I could very well find myself arrested and carted off to Fudoraku Castle, and I wouldn't be the first. Often, in such cases, the people who merely listened suffer the same treatment as the person who spoke. Great caution is necessary when discussing politics. Of course, Miss Ayane doesn't appear at all perturbed by the risk. She just looks at me like she swallowed something sour.
根性ねえくせに口は達者だな。
ありがとうございます。
褒めてねえよ。墓参りに来たんだ。
Out in the woods? Okay. A second passes before I realize that she's answering my question.
この近くに小さい村があるだろう。ばあさんがそこの生まれなんだ。墓もそこにある。鎌倉に埋めれば面倒もなかったんだけどよ。
So why are you going through the woods instead of just like walking along the road?
そうですか。
The explanation, though curt, is quite easy to understand. It has raised a new question, however.
鎌倉から村へ行く途中でここへ。
ああ。
I summon a map of the area in my mind.
この森は村を間に挟んで
Alright, so we know
鎌
Minato's
倉の
one
反
of the
対
people
側
who
に
can
あるはずなのですが。
actually visualize, a 3D object in his head. Unlike certain people, it turns out some people just can't do that. Like, you tell them to, like, picture, I don't know, a round red apple in their head. It's like, most people, normal people who aren't broken, are able to just be like, yep, okay, I see it in my mind's eye. But then some people are like, what are you talking about? And they just can't do it. They have no concept of, being able to visualize something non-existent in their mind.
そうなのか。
はい。
At least, unless you intend to circumnavigate the globe. The globe.
迷子になられたのですか。
迷子とか言うな。
沢口まではバスで。
ああ。
そこから村までは一本道のはず。
Yeah, how'd you end up in the woods?
何首をかしげてやがる。
No, this is actually an interesting train of thought to go down. Like, how'd you end up here?
一体どうして迷子になられたのですか。
Yeah, how'd you end up in the bush?
迷子じゃね
え。では。
いや、ほら、なんだ、歩きっぱなしじゃ飽きるから。ちょっと足を止めて景色とか眺めたりすることってあるだろ。
No. How'd you get in the woods? Did you come in here to like take a shit and then get lost?
あります。
それでまた歩き出そうとしてふと周りを見ると自分がどっちの方角から来たのかわからなくなってるってことも普通
No?
にあるよな。
ありません。
この野郎、きっぱりはっきりと。
Ine crumbles, fish trembling. In any case, we seem to have gotten to the root of the problem. I sum it up as concisely as I can.
要するに方向音痴なのですね。
要するんじゃね
No internal compass.
え。いや、違うからな。
Then how'd you get lost in the woods fighting wild dogs?
リド。
Muramasa's voice cuts into the conversation. Not that Ayane can hear it. I give the Tsurugi my attention.
まずいんじゃない？今この森は危険よ。そう。
なるほど。確かに。
Muramasa's concern is well founded. If Ayane stumbles across the prefect in these woods, there's no telling what could happen. He may not kill her, but I doubt he'll let her go on her way. It would be best if she reaches the village as quickly as possible.
おい、聞けよ。いいか？私は別に迷子でも方向音痴でもなくて、
What?
三次元世界を二次元に矮小化する地図というものの欺瞞に対して科学的義憤を禁じ得ないという。
Alright, cope harder.
病気回復への第一歩は症状を直視することです。
Also, just like use your internal mind map to like put like topography lines on it, so that way you can represent 3D space on a 2D plane.
病気？
綾音さん、ここからどう進めば村へ出られるかわかり。
まっすぐ。
Well, yes, a straight line from here to the village would be the quickest way to get there.
芸術的な回答です。困り果てました。
お前今心底コケにしなかったか？
ここは村から直線距離で約1キロ半ほどの地点です。
Oh, we're just like in
方角は
barely
こちら
into
の
the
北
tree line. That's really
そ
close.
してあちらの方角約8キロに沢口があります。いかがでしょう。
えーっと
No. She looks around for a bit, then stabs a finger in the opposite direction from north.
南極ってこっちだよな。
なぜそういちいち芸術的なのですか。
だから何がだ。
わかりました。
And are we
仕
talking
方あり
like
ません。
true south or like magnetic south? I point in the direction of the village.
この方向へまっすぐ進んでください。そちらに村があります。
ああ。
良いですか。必ず
It's actually really hard to walk in a straight line in the woods.
わかったよ。木を避けるときには曲がるけど、それはいいんだろ。
Like I've never had to do any like fucking dumb army shit like military land navigation, but we had to do like a dumbed down version of the scouts. And man, I was not very good at it. Now I can read a map no problem, but you give like a dumb 14-year-old a compass and a map and tell him to go. And it's just like, alright, what do you expect to happen?
ダメです。
ダメ？
あなたのように芸術的な方はきっとそれだけで迷います。
その芸術的ってのやめろ。じゃあどうしろってんだよ。
できれば飛び越えてください。
できるか。
Huh?
では立ちふさがる木々を粉砕しながら直進する。
どこのヒグマだ。っていうかそれ森林破壊だろ。そんなことしなくてもあっちに
Yeah,
ま
it's
っす
only
ぐ
a
行けば
kilometer
いい
and
ん
a
だろう
half.
が。
Even if you go off course by a couple
Mayo
of degrees, you're still gonna end up in the same location.
そのあっちがすでに30度弱ずれているので、
Okay, 30
説得
degrees is
力を見出
quite
せ
a
ません。
lot. I was thinking something more like 5.
少し勘違いしただけだ。
あなたには無理です。
淡々とした面で静かに言うな。もういい。じゃあな。一応道を教えてくれたことには礼を言っとく。
Okay, bye.
ありがたく頂戴します。しかしそんなことよりどうかまっすぐ進むことにお気を向けてくださ
Do
い。
you have like an inner ear
早く
problem?
も曲がってます。
ああ。
Like you just like have bad balance, so you can't walk in a straight line?
はい、そのまままっすぐ。そしてその木は蹴り割ってくだ
It's
さい。
like that's one thing I worry about in case I ever get pulled over. I don't know, like one of those DUI checkpoints or whatever, and like they make you get out and do like the walk in a straight line thing. It's like I'm really flat-footed, which means my balance is pretty off. Like it's hard for me to balance on one foot because the way being flat-footed works is kind of like your feet, instead of like the arch, you know, making your foot into your ankle into your knee go in a straight line, it makes your ankles point inwards. So you're not like really balancing on a flat surface. You're kind of at like more of a 45-degree angle. And you gotta try to maintain that. So when you're doing like the one foot in front of the other, you know, you might stumble a bit.
うるせ
時々こちらを振り返って自分がちゃんと真後ろにいるかどうかを確認すると直進の目安になるかと思われますが。
え。絶対見ねえよ。
I mean, he's also right, you know, have a good reference point.
どう思う？
I ask Muramasa once Ione's uniform has become a distant blur through the trees.
あの娘が村へたどり着けるかどうか。
ああ、
着くんじゃない？明日くらいには。
Nah, she won't die in these woods. As best as I can tell from here, her deviation is already nearing 45 degrees.
警告の叫びが一度、攻撃の叫びが一度。方角は北西、あざ丸の陣象。駆逐の叫びはなし。果てたか、あざ丸。ご苦労であったの。
No, not your dog, I guess.
さて。
Or at least K9
敵
coworker.
はすでに我が結界を打ち、となればうかうかしてはおれんかな。出迎えてやるとしようかい。いざ参るぞ、上門の城村正。
You really need to cut back on the smokes, guy. I ended up walking Miss Ayane to the village, so the sun is touching the tips of the horizon by the time I resume my search. The forest is dark, but not yet too dark to see.
急ぐ。
え、
Even though Tsurugi's sight is not affected by lack of light, the darkness still brings with it many difficulties, including a greater risk of ambush. Ideally, I would like to finish this before the day is out. Only 4 or 5 hours have passed since my duel with the Prefect, not nearly enough time for him to recover strength. Even if he possesses extraordinary vitality, he should only just be getting back on his feet. I mustn't expect an easy fight, but the situation is not yet unsalvageable.
ね
何か。
え、思ったんだけど、やっぱりさっきの犬は変じゃないかしら。
見るからにな。
Judging by its size, it had to be a close relative of wolves, if not a wolf itself. It is generally believed that Yamato's wolves have been hunted to extinction, but one can never be certain. Hey, look at that. They're bringing up what I thought.
そうじゃなくて、いえ、そうなんだけど、あれだけの体、餌がいくらあってもそうそう足りないはず。
It's one of those reasons why, like, Japan has such a deer problem in some places. You know, if there's no apex predator and, you know, to cull essentially the herbivores, they essentially grow into like such a large size that they eat all the available food, and then the population like goes in like starvation mode, and like they just start dropping like flies, and they're all malnourished, and it's like total ecosystem collapse. It's bad.
確かに。
Well, it didn't look particularly well fed, neither did it appear desperate for food.
それに飢えていないのなら、どうして人を襲ったのかしら。
Wild dogs and wolves can be aggressive, and will fight ferociously to protect their territory. Like most canines, however, they're most comfortable when operating in packs. It is difficult to accept that such an animal would attack something as large as a human without support, and moreover, without being desperate for food.
もしかしてと思うのだけど、
It was trained to do that?
あ、
あれは誰かが。
Claws? But what?
猿。
いいえ、
That was loud. The monkey's fur gives off a dull shine. Steel.
剣。
いかにもその頭は合算十三味と申す。
That's a mouthful.
我が一族伝来の一品よ。
I'm already bad with S's, and there's a lot of them in that name. A young woman appears from behind a tree, her feet falling soundlessly upon the dry autumn leaves. But the voice just now belonged to an elderly man. Where is he hiding?
いかがした？
We're getting a little bit of disconnect here.
挨拶としてはいささか比例であったかな。どうか多めに見てやってくれ。わしも剣も山育ちゆえ、そやな振る舞いが染みついてしまっておるで。
The woman is beautiful, almost sinfully so. But the voice that issues from her full lips is that of a wizened old man. I cannot help but feel a disconnect with the reality, as though I am watching a puppet show where the actors have mistaken the roles. For a moment, I fear that I may have fallen into the clutches of a malevolent yokai.
ご老人と呼べばよろしかろうか。
見ての通り
No, not
枯
really.
れ果てた老いぼれよ。下手な気遣いは無用。この年になるともう若いと世辞を言われても素直に喜べぬでの。
Ho ho! The woman laughs once more in that ancient raspy voice of hers. Could this be a hallucination brought on by exhaustion?
先の戯れは挨拶と受けたまわった。しからばご用向きもおのずと知れるが、さように受け止めて差し支
Yeah,
え
no
は
jumping
あ
to
りますまい
conclusions
か。
here.
なかろうのなかろうの。 この老体をしてまいたは雇い主たる代官長坂を守らんがためとなれば無念かな。主と茶を飲み交わす仲にはなれまいて警官殿。
I'm not surprised that he is one of the prefect's underlings. Such an encounter was expected, if not that I would have to face a second Musha. However,
代官の前で警察を称した覚えはない。そもそもこの素顔も晒していないはず。しかしご老人、あなたは迷わず俺を襲ってこられた。
なに、教えてくれるものがおったまでよ。
Oh, okay.
それは
yeah, I wonder who that could be.
杖を携えた筋物か。確か反町一蔵。
Oh, what a jokester, that Sorimachi, you know, trying to get us killed.
主とはチキのようだの。因縁でもあるのかね。
I mean, we don't know they're back.
道
They're
で
back
行き合っ
story.
た程度の縁。
Okay, just that?
しかし
Cool.
このような場所で再会する不思議が気にはかかっていた。彼も代官の協力者なのか。
So it would appear.
小器用な男での重宝しておる。GHQ とパイプを持つというだけでも心強い。本人は駒使いなどと言うておるが、なんの味方につけて役立つのは
Very
そういう
versatile
もの
from the sounds of
よ。
it. So that man is the link between the prefect and GHQ, in which case, his purpose at the mayor's house was likely to negotiate with Lieutenant Otori. He was rebuffed, then reported to the prefect. It seems the probable course of events.
彼は今
さてどこか
Probably gone home.
忙しい男だって。周囲に気を散らすのは結構だがの。わしのことも忘れんでおくれ。
Yeah, kind of hard to forget about you when you got that fucking monkey through, you know, trying to swipe our head off.
せっかく楽しみにしておったのだからの。
と
哀れな村の衆をなぶって回る遊びにもちと空いておった。歯応えというものがな、どうしてもの。
一つお伺いしておくが、代官に加担する理由は
Eh, they cut a deal from the sounds of it.
その遊びが目的と言われるか。
まさかそこまで暇ではない。
Yeah, strictly business.
金よ。世知辛い話だが金がいるのよ。我が一族はとある名門に仕えておったのだが、この家がしばらく前に世渡りを誤っての廃絶の浮き目にあってしもうた。煽りを食って身分から収入まで失った我らに残されたのはクソの地といえば聞こえはいいが、雑穀もろくに実らぬ狭い山あいの所領のみ。枯れ死にを待つばかりであったよ。
史跡を追われたと。ならばその剣は
No, give and take deal.
無論没収されるところであったがな。つてを頼ってお上の慈悲をこい、どうにか見逃してもろた。そこへ現れたのがかの男、反町一蔵での。山掘りで荒稼ぎしようとしている男の話をわしに教えた上、協力するなら GHQ に手を回して剣を取り戻そうと受け合ってくれてな。わしが飛びつかぬはずもあ
Eh,
るま
I
い。
mean, yeah, even if you really don't want to work for him, it's a good deal for you. Doesn't make sense. This man Sorimachi is working far too hard. He finds a place for himself among the shogunate's men, while at the same time making himself useful to GHQ. That in itself is not extraordinary. It's just one of the many ways to get by in these troubled times. But while such middlemen are prized in certain walks of life, they're not accustomed to making work. They know that their purpose is to be used by others, and that if they just sit back and wait, easy jobs with great rewards will come to them with a constant flow. If what I've heard of his activities are to be believed, then Mr. Muramasa is entirely too proactive. It doesn't fit with his role as an intermediary, the sort of position that is ideal for someone who just wants to do as he's told. What's more, even arranged the return of a Tsurugi. GHQ has outlawed the possession of Tsurugi by anyone not a member of Yamato's standing military, presently Rogohara. All privately held Tsurugi have been confiscated. I've heard that these Tsurugi are just sitting in a warehouse gathering dust. For many reasons, the language barrier, for example, or simple physical incompatibility, Yamato and Tsurugi are unsuited to use by GHQ soldiers. Even so, Tsurugi or Tsurugi, it's hard to believe that they would release such a precious item at the request of a mere go-between. There has to be something else at work here.
とまあそういう次第でな。一族を食わすためには代官の目論見を成就せしめねばならん。である以上、代官の敵はわしの敵。ここであったが100年目となるわけよ。
The woman thing finishes, paying no mind to my concerns.
ご事情は理解した。そのためにこの村を犠牲にするもやむなしというお考えか。
Yep, it's unfortunate, but fuck him.
なんぞつまらんことを言わせたいのかの。弱肉強食だのどうのこうのと。たっての要望とあらば口にせんではないが。
Yep. No need to say the quiet part out loud when it's mutually understood between the two of us. Just wasting time.
全くに。
そのようなことはどうでもよかろうて。港影明殿で確かかな。さあ、そろそろそちらの雲。村正の恥をわしに味わわせてはくれぬかね。
He even knows of Muramasa? I haven't spoken my Tsurugi to anyone here. Not the prefect, not even Lieutenant Otori.
ご老人。いささか知りすぎてはいまいか。
この先は太刀打ちにてつかまつろガッサン。
Alright, what's yours look like? Better have a cool design.
迷いの六階、地獄、ガキ、畜生、アシュラ、人間、天人、いざゆかん。悟りの視界、正門、円覚、菩薩に仏、いざゆかん。死して生あり、生して死あり。死とは生なり生とは死なり、死して実戒生して実戒。
Do your mystical Buddhism thing. Okay, the face is a little dumb, but other than that,
鬼を切る。仏に会うては仏を
bit of a
切る。
long-winded, like, incantation.
剣のことあり。ここにあり。
相模足柄は風間谷の小太郎、並びに合算十三味。
Well, that explains the whole ninja thing.
今日の武者村正にいざ人やり地相戦。
I think I picked up on it last episode, but I just never said anything about it. Yeah.
ふむ。小太郎か。
はあはあ。
never enjoyed the sensation of rising into the sky. It fills me with a strong unease, like staring into the fathomless void. I envision myself vanishing into its maw, and a cold shiver runs up my spine. The output of my Guitari is lower than usual, making it difficult to gain altitude as fast as I'd like. The wind feels heavy today. It must be the lack of calories. Still, I should be able to handle an average opponent.
やっぱり間違いない。
どうした？
あれは寄生体よ、ミド。カカ様と同室の気配。
確かか。
言ったでしょ。あれの匂いは漠然としかたどれない。
Cool!
けれど目にすれば特定できる。
That just means we can get 2 pieces of,
間違いなく卵を受け入れている。
Naginata back.
大艦と同じ。ここには2機いたのよ、ミド。
大盤振る舞いだな。
Though it's nothing to celebrate. But perhaps it is. When confrontation is inevitable, best to get out of the way as quickly as possible. And now the pressing question has been answered.
聖将の悪狼。
That's a cool, like, fucking wing design.
そうは思わぬか、港影明。
答えろ。銀星号を知っているな。
はてさて。
東海無用。しからばこそこの村正を知ったはず。
いかにもさよ。かのびきから主のことは聞いておる。
Oh, you're pretty well connected.
可愛がってやってくれと年頃に頼まれてしもうたわい。
どこだ？あいつはどこにいる？
知らんのう。風に乗り雲と去る。まっこと凡人にはなかなか手の届かぬお人であったゆえ。
I mean, you say that, but conversation with her is probably inevitable.
月の影でも探してみてはどうじゃ。天女の宮はきっとそこいらにあるでな。
それか。
Speed dropping. My acceleration is cut out.
ミド、これまで。
Oh, really? You've already hit your ceiling? Alright.
承知。
I dive to gain speed, then pull up to meet my opponent's charge.
どうしたどうしたいかがした。存外にだらしのない。そんなことでは到底月まではたどり着けぬぞ。
いらぬ誤配を痛み入る。
敵機反転。降下態勢に移行。迎撃を。
Oh boy! At Muramasa's warning, I pull up and bring the enemy into sight. High ground is his. I'll be starting this battle on the back foot. Gidan! He intends to slash up while passing overhead. This meshes perfectly with my plan of attack, which is to pass below while cutting down from Jodan. In which case, pure speed will decide this exchange. At the last moment, he took my bottom.
村正、損傷。
右脇腹を削られた。損傷は軽微。戦闘続行に支障なし。
Just cosmetic.
蝶をかき出されたかと思ったが。
危なかったけれどね。もう少し狙われていたら心臓串刺しよ。今の月は。
Muramasa sounds shaken. I know that her words are no exaggeration.
発想とは珍しき構えを使う。
Lord dump us.
年寄りに長丁場しんどいでの。一網で済ませられぬかと思うたが、いや、なかなか簡単にはいかぬものよの。
His words would suggest frustration, but the tone of his kinshoujo is positively cheerful. The Hasso stance, in which the sword is held parallel to the body and used to thrust. It's rarely used in aerial combat. It's far more difficult to catch a high-speed object with a thrust than a slash. If the thrust does land, however, then all of the Musha's kinetic energy will bear on a single point, enough force to punch through any armor. A perfectly executed thrust would likely prove fatal for even the sturdiest Tsurugi. For these reasons, Hasso is commonly reserved for desperate situations, such as last-ditch efforts to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat.
それを優位の立場から用いるとは人を食った戦い方をする。
あなたとは相性が良くなさそうね。
Yeah, that one's clearly a lot more agile than Muramasa here.
かもしれん。だが、そのようなこと、俺には関係がない。
ええ、私にはどうだっていいことよ。
Just gotta win.
ならば、村正を始めよう。
始めましょう、ミド。
これは驚き。どこぞの猛録が有名高き村正と互角に当たり合っておる。いや、わしも捨てたものではないの。それとも
I mean,
そちらが
we don't really know too much about
評判なのかの
about Minato here got the Muramasa, but it seems more like he's just kind of learning as he goes.
そちらは評判通りのようね、ガッサン。
Like he's no master
で
swordsman.
は UFO の息吹を感じる見事な鋼鉄よ。けれど、一つ疑問がある。
はて何かな、雲の姫御勢。
合算火事といえば、平安朝末期の清丸を開祖とするはず。でも、その剣はとてもとても古い。
Okay.
私の見立て違いでなければ、清丸よりさらに昔。平安前期の頃の作と見えるのだけれど、違って？
さすがは天下の村正。いかにも名察の通り。この合算は
it's a real old
上
model.
官年間に打ち上げ
The
られた。
vintage. He's definitely not going to pass emissions inspections at the DMV.
系譜が異なるかの。
That shit rolls coal.
やはりね。それがどうしてガッサンを名乗るのかしら？
上官6年。出羽の国合算神社の祭神が13味を送られた折に打たれたものでの。故に合算13味。
Okay.
後天皇正門公が合算と並んで出羽三山に数えられる羽黒山へ50の塔を寄進した時、その手に渡り、さらに正門公に伝えた我が世の演奏、イボロ石念へ貸しされたという次第よ。
そういうこと。なら、欧州木佐火事の特色が濃く残る、その作り込みも納得がいく。
Mokusa, a name that appears in the earliest histories of Tsurugi smithing in Yamato. If that Tsurugi is indeed of their line, then it must be one of the oldest Tsurugi extant. The opposite of extinct.
矢尻作りの先駆者という意味で画期的だった。彼らは初めて鋼鉄の工夫による加速性上昇という発想を持ち、しかも成功した。先ほどからあなたが見せている見事な足、正直先人の英知には簡単のため息しか漏れてこないわね。
そのように持ち上げられっぱなしでは心苦しいの。
You sure we just can't just talk it out?
これから主らを打ち伏せねばならんというに、何やら気がさしてくるわ。
いいのよ、気にしないで。これから落とすつもりだから。
I mean, Muramasa's not wrong. It's like when I look at old airplane designs, it's like, yeah, these are real cool, and like the innovation required to get them going is like is
当時
staggering.
の彼らは旋回性の重要さを明確に知るところまでは達していなかったのよ。
But yeah, as time advances on and new innovations become, you know, the standard, it's like they kind of the old stuff falls by the wayside for a reason. So, from the sounds of it, is Gassan's more of like an interceptor type where it can go real fucking fast in a straight line. And if that's all you want to do, that's great. But, you know, fucking, it's all about hyper maneuverability, dog. You can't Cobra maneuver. By the time we come about for the third exchange, our altitude is equal.
足は備前、腰は関。剣に造形あれば聞いたことをあろう。
村正一門は美濃関鍛冶衆の系統。旋回力を駆使する格闘戦でよその後陣は排さない。
抜かったわ。
Oh, look at that. Now we have the
貴
advantage.
様の遊びは終わりだ。総集ラッパ。この先の時間は俺がもらう。
敵機左剣部に悲劇中波。
そして俺は
Alright, let's finish him off.
戦ごとに遊びを持ち込むほどの強は持たない。次の一王で落とす。
That last strike went deep. One more blow in the same place will take me through his armor to the body beneath. Crack open his hard shell to get to his gooey insides. Suck him out like an oyster. And there's nothing to stop me from delivering it.
参る。
いや、これは確かに戯れが過ぎたようだの。返す言葉もない。いやいや、いくつになっても説教とは耳に痛いものだて。しかしの、村正よ。主の時間
Oh
は
yeah,
今
you're
ここ
juiced
ま
up
で。
with fucking Ginsego,
ここから
like
は
steroids
再
on.
びわしがいただく。
させぬ。
いやいや。
Fifth exchange. I seat my blade in the right Jodan and prepare to cleave my enemy in two. Gassan, however, takes no stance. His blade dangles limply from his hands. What can he do from such a position?
残機三下六根少女。残機三下六根少女。
Stage 2. Let's go.
何？
He vanished? Impossible. Masaka.
いない。どこへ？
待って、今周囲を探査する。
Well, if he's from the Fuma clan, he's a ninja. So
いた。日の絵から馬の市も距離400。
承知。どこだ？
そんな反応は確かに。攻撃？どこから？
yeah, probably from behind.
これはどういうこと？私の耳が騙されている。
合算のしのぎか。
Probably. Okay, now shonen manga lore dump us about your abilities. Yo.
今の発信源は？
日の絵の神。
いかがかな、我が霧隠れの術は。
I mean, it's cool.
口に合えば良いのだがの。
I like the visual symbolism going on here. Kiragakure no jutsu? That's how he renders himself invisible. It's even fooling Muramasa's radar.
これほど強力なしのぎがあったのか。
初耳よ。
Muramasa's voice is panicked, and I can hardly blame her. All shinogi defy the laws of nature, and some are capable of destruction on a massive scale. I've witnessed with my own eyes their power split the sky and crack the earth. Muramasa too is strong enough to be feared as a demon. But never have Never have I heard of a shinogi this so unfair. I flub my words, don't worry about it. If one cannot see his enemy, even with radar, then he cannot defend himself, much less put up a fight. Such a shinogi defies the very concept of a duel.
クイーンズアーミーがステルスの開発を進めているとは聞いたことがあるが
Yeah, but that's like, you know, how the armor is angled in order to deflect radar.
いくら木佐火事が先駆的だったと言っても1000年分は先駆けすぎよ。
A bit hard to believe, I agree. Moreover, the stealth armor I mentioned will only be effective against radar, and even then, it will only make detection difficult, not impossible. It's certainly not capable of blocking line of sight and generating false radar positives. At least, not so far as I know. Yeah, like, stealth aircraft aren't invisible on radar, it just, like, renders their signature so small that it either gets, like, it deleted by the system automatically as, you know, garbage info. Like not everything that gets picked up on radar is shown on the screen. Most of the time it's like, all right, the flock of birds, garbage, delete that. That's trash. You know, like a weird, you know, false positive on a cloud or like some fucking, I don't know, mountaintop, get rid of it. It's trash. The system knows not to display that. This can only be a shinogi.
ミド、回避して。敵攻撃、兜側面を削火。危なかった。あと一瞬遅かったら、今頃首が自由落下していたところね。ミド、大丈夫？
問題ない。それより今、どうして攻撃を察した？
I mean, he probably has to come out of stealth right before an attack.
探査機能を耳から肌へと切り替えてみたの。
Oh, okay.
当たりだったみたいね。
そうか。さすがに万能ではないか。
If enemy shinogi can't block infrared, then maybe... No, who am I fooling? I'm still fighting blind.
熱源探査に頼った戦闘は可能か？
それは無理よ。有効範囲が狭すぎる。
As I thought, infrared is meant for backup during ground engagements, where ranges are short, and is not suited for the wide open sky. Tsurugi designed specifically for ground combat sometimes have more powerful scanners, but in this respect, at least, Muramasa's equipment is purely orthodox. When aerial combat is your primary concern, there are more important things to consider than infrared.
知名打を避けるのが関の山でしょうね。
ないよりはいいが。
But not enough to defeat Gasan's Kirigakure no Jutsu. There has to be something.
村正、
何？
奴が消えてからすでに何秒経過した？
Muramasa doesn't respond, but I can tell that my meaning has gotten through.
しのぎは多大な熱量を代償に発動する。強力なものであればあるほど姿を消すようなふざけた術を延々と維持しながら天津さえ寄港し戦闘する。
Probably a real good bit.
法外な桁になるはずね。まともな人間ならとっくに熱量欠乏で墜落、いえ、投資していなくてはおかしい。
同意する。どうもこの相手には常識が通じぬようだ。
Is this the work of Genseigo's egg? No, it can't be. While Shinkai, Suzukawa Robu, had his shinogi enhanced by an egg, it didn't protect him from freeze. I have the slightest idea what could be at work here. Feels as though I'm wandering through a thick, expansive mist. Exactly as the name Kirigakure, hidden in the mist, would suggest.
どうするの？
奴の卵の危険性はどうだ？見たところ、負荷は近そうだったか？
Ew.
いえ、そうね。正確にはわからないけれど、今日や明日ということはないと思う。
Like a chest burster just gonna pop out of him? Then there's only one answer. Situation: my enemy possesses extraordinary power. My condition is poor. No hope of victory.
この場の敗北を認める。戦域より離脱。
Yeah, maybe go to Denny's, you know, really pack in the calories so you're ready for a long bout next time. Hear reluctance and shame in Muramasa's voice. I understand these sentiments well, but we haven't the luxury of indulging them. The only thing that matters is our duty. We will run dry if we must, and fight another day. I mean, we will run if we must. Look at me just making up words. No point fighting a losing battle.
まさかとは思うがこの老人と合算に村正ともあろう者が負けたというのかのそんなバカな残念ではあるがご説の通り交戦を継続すれば敗北は必至と判断したおおなんと情けないあのお方が聞いたら何と言うやら何と言ってんだ
by staying alive and giving it another chance another day.
影焼きそれで届くつもりかと
Ignore him. Focus on the mission. The mission is everything.
村正こうか
了解
I drop pitch and pick up speed, the wind growing harder around me as I descend. The enemy is built for speed. It'll be difficult to shake him, but there's no choice. Fortunately, it is even more difficult to deal a critical blow to a fleeing enemy. Only with a head-on collision is it possible to breach a Musha's armor with one blow. In addition, it is dangerous to attack a low-flying enemy from above. If you build up too much speed during a dive, you could easily plow into the ground. I will likely take one or two attacks, but as long as I don't panic, I should be able to avoid serious... Another enemy? Oh, you have your own. Oh! Control restored. Now if I can just land softly. Oh, that didn't sound like a very soft landing. Well, at least your Tsurugi is, you know, just kind of a mass production model from the looks of it. Though, once the flowers bloomed so brightly. Now, only shades remain. And though I hold their memory dear, nothing is the same. If I could cross the mountains and leave this fleeting world behind, no more would I drown my sorrows, nor dream of gentle lies.
浅き夢見し永もせず永もせず
Yeah, we can worry more about your backstory later. Just wake up and focus on the now, huh? Hello, elf child? I awaken in an unfamiliar house. Perhaps the home of a local farmer. Got a lot of nice radishes up there, though. The floor beneath my back is hard, but the futon around me is warm. After examining my environment, I shift my attention to my body. A bandage is wrapped around my chest, too tightly to be for a bruise. This sort of wrapping is used for heavy bleeding. So, when did I suffer such a wound? Now I remember. I crashed. The last thing I saw was the mountain rising up to meet me. Yeah, don't have your guts fall out all over the floor. While fighting the pain, I looked towards the voice to see a girl, perhaps in her early teens, kneeling by my pillow, In her hands is a wash rag, which she wets from the pail of water beside her. Her skin is dark and her ears pointed.
エミシの方ですか？
はい。
The girl is fetching, with the angular features characteristic of her race. The lines of her face are sharp but delicate, giving her a certain sculpture-like beauty. Her long, slender fingers fiddle with the damp cloth.
はい。
汗を拭いた方がいいと思うんですけど、構いませんか？
I suppose that's something we can allow. Now that she mentions it, I notice that my skin is indeed soaked with sweat. Why would I mind?
ああ、なるほど。
The reason for her hesitation is clear.
失礼。裏若い女性にご造作をおかけするようなことではありませんでした。
So
違い
gentlemanly.
ますそうじゃなくて、エミシですから。
What, are you guys like untouchables or something?
ほら、
Defilement. She seems to finish, though the word is barely audible. Ah,
よろしくお願いします。
as though only just remembering the rag in her hands, she wrings it out hastily and presses it to my forehead. The damp cloth is cool against my skin.
ミド、加減はどう？
お前か。悪くはない。
If having a large gash in your chest is considered fair, then sure. I shift my gaze to the corner of the room, where a giant crimson spider sits watching us. The sight is highly bizarre. But, as this is an Amishi home, I probably don't have to worry about anyone mistaking my Tsurugi for a storybook monster. As expected, the girl appears unperturbed by Muramasa's presence.
少なくとも、今朝がけに切られて墜落したにしては。あの後の経過を教えてほしい。
重傷なあなたを村まで連れて行こうとしたのだけれど、私も
Well,
動け
that's
なく
very
て、
kind of them.
難儀していたらエミシの老人がやってきて助けてくれたのよ。
老人。
この家の主。ちなみにここは例のお山の中。
I mean, they did mention last time in their story of the mine. You know, the Amishi are like the, masters of the mountain kind of thing. Pieces snapped together in my mind. The mayor spoke of the Amishi tribe on the mountain, one charged with keeping a wrathful god
な
sealed.
るほど。
話せることはこのくらい。時間的にはまだ大して経ってないのよ。
Oh, that's not much time at all.
3、4時間っていうところ。
お前の損傷程度は？
悪くはないかしらね。今朝がけに切られて墜落したにしては。
Hey, any landing you can walk away from
こ
is a
れか
good
ら
one.
回復に専念する。あとはよろしく。
承知した。
そちらの雲の人、お武家様の剣ですよね。心配していたんですよ。雲さん。はあ、答えてくれない。さっきまではこう頭にピリピリくる声で話してくれたのに。
Weird.
申し訳ありません。剣にとって己のしてや別の武者はともかく、普通の方と声を交わし合うのはとても億劫なことのようなのです。対は何もありません。
Don't take it personal.
自分が起きたので、後の対応はこちらへ任せ、休息を取っているだけです。
Yeah, just take it to sleep with its
自分
eyes
からお
open
詫びいたします。
because it's a robot and it can't close its eyes.
いえいえ、そんな比例だなんてちょっと残念だっただけですから。
The girl blushes furiously and wrings her hands which happen to be wiping my wounded chest. It's fairly painful.
何をやっとる、フキ。
ごめんなさい。
いえ、問題ありませんから。
フキ、それは OK。そろそろ包帯を巻き直す。棚から新しいのを出してこい。
はい、じっちゃま。
She leaps to her feet and rushes to the cabinet. The man takes her place beside me. Peering out from behind his back is a second girl, about 3 or 4 years younger than the first. Our eyes meet, and she smiles shyly. Should I
お
respond?
加減はいかがかな、ミド。
おかげをもちまして一命をお救いいただいたようです。
何？誰は自分で自分を救っておったよ。うてがしたのはここへ寝かせて包帯を巻いただけに過ぎ。しかし
The man proceeds to unwrap my bandages. When he pulls off the gauze, there is pain, but very little blood, at least, when compared to the ugliness of the scars.
おー、
見よ。ここへ連れてきた時は
お
骨が覗いておったがな。すでに肉が盛り上がり傷を覆っている。
Yo, you got a healing factor?
Makoto.
Let's go.
武者の回復力は凄まじい。
どうして？
Musha power.
これがまがいものにあらざる剣の力。鍛冶師の神魂を宿す真の剣は生半可なことでは破壊されぬ。少々の欠損な
Cool
ら
on that ability
自
just
力で
passes to
た
the
やす
pilot.
く復元してのける。そして縦脇の義によって血縁した武者と剣は常に一体。復元の力は武者の肉体にも及ぶのだ。
Cool, so that just means we can get into some
Kono
real fucking knockdown brawls, you know, absolute bloodbath fights. But as long as he walks away from it, you know, it's fine. It'll buff.
そうなんだ。すごい。
去りながらあなた方がお助けくださらなければ回復するより前に。
誰は大官だのその取り巻きだのに殺されるような星ではないよ。それにミド、ウテは当然のことをしているに過ぎん。誰が山の作業場であのバカ者を止めてくれた折、ウテもその場におった。
So you wanna
我が村の救い主が倒れているのを見かけて何もせぬ方があろうか。
それは一身上の都合でしたこと。救いなどと考えられては身が縮みます。
whether it's coincidental or not doesn't change the fact that, you know, you helped him out.
だとしても
Mhm.
助けられれば感謝はするもの。当然のことであろう。
Starting to feel like a foolish youth too proud to accept his elder's wisdom.
ご老人、失礼。そのようにお見受けしたのですが、もしや見込み違いということは。
I mean, yeah, you look pretty good for being a grandfather.
ないよ、お若い方。年はもう50を数えた。恵美氏としては老人も老人、長老などと呼ばれる頃合いかな。
I guess black don't crack, you know, applies to you guys too. It is difficult to judge the exact age of an Amishi, as they do not age visibly at the same rate most people do. However, my assessment was correct. The man before me appears in his early 40s at most, but the slight stiffness of his movements led me to believe that he was older than he seemed, as did his usage of Mido when addressing me. Mido, Honored of the Hall, is an ancient honorific for Musha, dating back to the time when the Emperor's Musha were quartered in a building called the Sakatendo, or Hall of Deva Sakura. That sounds like a Buddhist thing, so I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's rarely used anymore.
では、ご老人。あなたはやはり、この山で祭祀を行っておられるというご一族の。
村長にでも聞いたか。その一族の最後の末裔がここにおる3
Oh,
人よ。
wow. Only 3?
ウテはヤゲンタ。こやつらは孫で、大きい方がフキ、小さい方がフナと申す。
申し遅れました。鎌倉警察署の港影明です。
Unable to bow properly while he's applying new bandages, I settle for lowering my head. The old man replies with a slight nod. Behind him, the older granddaughter is bowing repeatedly, her head nearly touching the floor each time, while the younger just gives me another smile. The younger sister shows more confidence than the elder. Contrasts between the two somewhat comical.
警察の人であったか。
ご協力に感謝いたします。
Yeah, he's a cop and he's not a pig, so don't worry about it.
後日必ず。今日のところはそろそろ失礼させていただきます。
え、
さっきは回復が早いと褒めたがな。さすがに一晩は動けんだろうよ。
Yeah, they worked real hard
無理
sewing
を
you
して
back
動け
together,
ば
so
また傷口が開くぞ。
just take a little nap.
しかしご迷惑はかけられません。自分がここにとどまればこの図体で場所を塞ぐのみならず。
大官どものことを案じておるのか。なるほど。やはりその傷は奴らと一戦交えた結果か。
Mm-hmm.
それで追っ手が来るかもしれぬというのだ
It's
な。
a shame for you nice folks to get killed.
まさしく。
だがそれは無用の心配。ここで慣れを追い出したところで奴らの迷惑が迷惑でなくなるものか。
それは
奴らはいる限り村の迷惑よ。一身上の都合だろうが何だろうが、御堂、誰が奴らを成敗するというのなら、
Alright, so just go into
誰を
mindset.
助ける
They'll
ことは
probably kill us
村
eventually
の
if
利
this
益
goes
にか
on,
なう。
so doesn't really matter if you stay or leave.
丸一日はここで休んで行け。慣れならばおそらくそれで全開しよう。
そうしてください。当ては難しいことは分かりませんけど、こんな大怪我をしている人が出ていくなんて、そんなのダメです。
ねえや、ニーヤはどうしたの？
Not tonight from the sounds of it.
ニーヤ、お家に帰りたいんだって。そんなのやだ。もっといてほしい。そうよね。ほら、お武家様。
You don't wanna crush a child's dreams now, do you? I still feel that I should leave, but that doesn't appear to be an option. And as Yagenta? I have to hear his name again to see where the syllables are emphasized. Yagenta says, leaving before my injuries have fully healed would be neither practical nor prudent. I suppose the wise choice is to accept their hospitality.
わかりました。ご厄介をおかけします。
よろしく。
ピリピリきた。ピリピリ。
Oh, mystery. Mystery affection gained? Okay. Odd. Don't know what that means. Slightly concerning. But with that, that is where we're going to end it here for today. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you guys will next time for the next episode of Full Metal Demon Muramasa, where we will pick up next time with this meeting of dastardly villains. Hope to catch you guys all there later. Bye. Mwah.